to another great session of Chat with Hatt. I don't know if you've noticed that the temperature is rising, getting hot here in Vacaville. So let's give you some safety pointers on how we can take care of the whole fur family, making sure everybody's doing okay this summer, and you always have a safe and cool summer. So let's see, pets. Do they experience, a great question is, do they experience heat differently than humans do? And they do. One thing you can imagine is, well, they're obviously furred for most of them. You know, some breeds are not, but for the most part, animals have a lot of fur all over their body that is much thicker than human hair. So the running body temperature for an animal, a dog and a cat, well, both of them, is probably between 99 to a maximum of 103. They'll always feel warmer than you. If you've ever petted an animal that has no hair or fur on it, they will already feel warmer to you because we run about 98. An animal runs hotter. Part of the reason is that they're smaller, so there's a lot more inertia, there's a lot more science going on in there to keep that heart pumping. So there's a lot more energy that's pumping through that body on a regular basis to keep it going. And so, do they manage heat differently? They do, because they're already going into a warm summer day, already several degrees warmer than we are. And they tend to sweat through the pads of their feet and panting. And so you have the short-nosed breeds like the French Bulldog or any of the bulldogs that have very fleshy cheeks and really thick, soft palates, and so they're trying to pant, but there's not a lot of real estate and a lot of room in there for them to get the air in and out. Plus that nose is super short, so trying to breathe in that hot air and have it cool down in their body system is difficult for them to do. This can apply also to the short-nosed cats as well. So trying to keep your pet safe in the heat, let's talk about that. There's a lot of different surfaces that are outdoors that we may not always think about because we're often wearing slippers or shoes, sandals, something like that, okay? We have concrete, you have asphalt, and you even have decks. All of these, and I've also noticed the AstroTurf outside. I don't know if you've ever walked on AstroTurf in the summer, but it's hot. It's hot to the touch, okay, because it's not grass. There's not cool dirt underneath that. There's a layer typically there. So I think I want to first address some of the ways to check things out. These surfaces tend to absorb heat and they retain it for a long period of time. Okay, the asphalt is black, and so it will definitely hold heat for longer. Concrete, while being like a lighter color, will still retain quite a bit of heat too. And so things like spraying it down with water isn't necessarily enough. It's just going to create sort of a boiling, sizzling environment for that pet. So ideally, and some of the signs that we're seeing, and I'm seeing it already, are burned pads. And also for some of our intact males, burned skin on their bottom end, their scrotum can get burned from sitting, and also bellies. And so these are areas to really watch for on your pet. How do you even try to prevent that? Well, what you're going to do is you're going to make sure you're walking your pet between 4 and 7 a.m. likely, or even well after 8 p.m. in the evening, because that surface, that sidewalk, those trails need time to cool down. One great way to check it is to put your own hand, and if you could possibly even your wrist or your arm, right on the ground and see. And if that's too hot for you, then it's going to be too hot for your pet. And your pet is so loyal, they just want to walk with you. They're not going to complain, but all of a sudden they're going to get back and you're going to see them limping a day or so later. Let me tell you what we've got at our little posh boutique here. You can put some fun little booties for your pets if you just got to go out in the middle of the day. You can also put a nice frozen ice pack underneath their water bowl, so that way that'll keep their water cool. Visit our groomers to have their belly shaved, especially if they're a longer haired coat, to make sure the feet are shaved close and the bellies are shaved nice and close, so when they want to lay on your tile floor, they can just receive all that coolness right off of there. Speaking of cool, also there are cooling beds. Those are wonderful for camping and also just to have in your home. Try to keep your air conditioner around 79 degrees at the highest and at the hottest, so that way, remember, your pet's starting the day already hitting about 99 to 100 degrees on body temperature, so it won't take long for them to move up to that. And let's see, ice cubes, fun fruits are really fun as well to put in their water bowls or even in their food dishes. Anything that's cold, watermelon is safe. Sliced up celery can be fun, or carrots are great also. Blueberries, very fun treat as well to have frozen. What do you do if there's a crisis, right? What happens if your pet overheats? Let's talk about that. Get to your veterinarian. Go to your vet as soon as you can. Get to emergency as soon as you can. First steps are always going to be to do a progressive cooling down. You need to get the water hose on them, across their back, across their belly. Where did I say they kind of sweat? The feet, right? I didn't mention the ears, but that's another area too that you can cool down. I typically recommend, as part of the first aid kit, if you're out camping or you're out hiking, to keep some rubbing alcohol with you. Rubbing alcohol tends to pull the heat off of the patient. So we will even put that when we get like a heat stroke or a heated dog come into the clinic. We'll automatically place alcohol in between those paw pads, in between the fingers, on the ears, in the armpits and the groin, to try to just cool that patient down. Can you use an ice pack? Yes, you can, but not directly on the skin. Okay, you have to wrap that ice pack in at least one layer of towel, if not two, because you're just going to apply a cooling mechanism to them. Don't just put a straight ice pack on them. The other thing you can do is, I've noticed at Home Depot or those really, Lowe's, any of those nice fun do-it-yourself stores, they have those cooling bandanas for gardening for people. And those are actually wonderful help for your dog to be able to help radiate and keep the neck cool, because there's a lot of skin usually around the neck. There's some big blood vessels in the neck, so all of that can really help cool that pet. So now what are you going to look for, right? So what I've recommended for some of these owners that have the bully breeds or the English bulldogs, French bulldogs, Spanish bulldogs, there's a lot of different bulldogs, but any of those snub-nosed breeds, I do recommend taking a temperature on them before you even go. It's really good to make sure you know their body temp before you go, because honestly it can take 15-20 minutes out on a hike at 10 in the morning and they're all of a sudden going to collapse. They're going to walk around a bit drunk. They're going to be panting, and their eyes will literally just bug out of their head. They're so anxious because they cannot cool down. They will not be able to stop. They won't want to drink water, anything, because all they're trying to do is try to get heat off of them. So you'll be able to see that your pet is pretty critical. This is different from the excited puppy that is running around panting, panting, panting. You can just see it in their eyes. There's a distressed look on an overheating animal versus an animal that's just having a good time and just panting. All right, but I usually suggest getting an ear thermometer. The Braun thermometers from Amazon are about $40. Have that on hand. You can also get a pediatric rectal thermometer. Trust me, your pet's not going to care that you're putting a thermometer in its bottom when it's overheating. But it's good to know what that is. So if you have anything over 105, your dog is critical. Okay, and it can risk brain damage and possibly even have some red blood cell and clotting issues in the body. Very traumatic experience. Don't recommend. So try to really make sure you're protecting your pet by that time of day, keeping rubbing alcohol on hand, having an ear thermometer available and or a rectal thermometer, and of course ice water, ice pack, anything like that for those. But yeah, leave your pet at home if you're wanting to do an all-day hike in this heat right now during the summertime. Otherwise, there could be a real risk for your pet. Thanks for joining me with this chat with Hatt on how to beat the heat with your pets. I hope you have a very safe and cool summer. Stay in the shade and keep those drinks nice and chilled for them. Take care. We'll see you soon.